Coming to you live from the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network studios, we bring you the Weekly Flagship show, hosted by everybody's favorite tag team, Myron Fancher and Nick McDaniel. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the return of the Weekly Flagship show on the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. I am your host, Nick McDaniel, and I've always, man, the buddy to my left is none other than my partner in crime, Myron. What's going on, buddy?
Wrestling is going on, and it's going on. Man, this has been a wild week in the news for wrestling. And always we get out to a live show, which is our favorite thing in the world to do. But it's been a great week and a controversial week. Had a lot of fun and had a lot of reading time, and there was a lot of just Twitter was buzzed this week.
Yeah, lots of stuff going down, and between the injuries and big promos and all that good stuff going on, man, it was a cool week. And like I said, there was a few shows that we hit, yes, which was super cool, yes, which is something we've been, we try to do more and more, get out and especially hit these indie shows. But man, we'll get into some of these stories. Let's back up. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, cause we're going to jump right into probably what would be considered by most to be the biggest wrestling story this past week.
New York Post-worthy wrestling story.
If the New York Post picks up a wrestling story, it's a pretty big deal. And the Sexy Star, Triple Mania, Rosemary story was a big enough deal that it got all over the place. So I wanted to start there and ask you, because you're our women's wrestling connoisseur.
Correspondent.
You're a connoisseur of women's wrestling, man. You love to watch some women's wrestling.
Well, I mean, it's the best wrestling there is, in my opinion, but that's a different topic. Yes, I watched it. A couple of things struck me about the whole thing. The way after she tapped out and the referee broke the hold, she put the hold back on. She continued to put the hold on her. And the referee was not very active in getting her off. Now, I don't know what the touch referee type stuff is in that particular, was it Triple AAA? I don't know the Mexican referee type, what typically they do. Not my format. I don't know that much about it, but I thought maybe he didn't realize she was hurting her. But my take is, was a shitty thing to do. When you affect somebody's career, and you want to do it violently in the ring, and you shoot straight like that, if it's a work, and you all of a sudden start shooting, that's not cool. That's just not the way that works. You hurt another performer, you jeopardize their career, and you tarnish your reputation. And as we've seen, her bookings are falling off dramatically. WrestleCade, where we're going in November, the Tapped Out Podcast will be there covering WrestleCade. They've switched. They took Sexy Star off and put Rosemary on, which I am super excited about, getting to meet her at WrestleCade. Thank you, Rosemary, and I hope you get well soon.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I've talked to a lot of, wrestlers over the last week, and the biggest feedback we've gotten is, like you said, they're in a sport where you trust somebody else with your body. I mean, that let's be blunt. Sexy Star didn't put her in an armbar.
Yeah, Rosemary let her put her in an armbar.
Yeah, she let her get her in an armbar. She put herself in a vulnerable position, because she trusted her with her body, and then she, to take advantage of it. I know the whole term is, she went into business for herself. I mean, my thing is there was apparently an altercation backstage or whatever. Who cares? There's been many a guy, I'm sure, back in the day who didn't like each other. Yeah. And when they hit the ring, they were professional. Well, they were professional.
Yeah. You
handle it, and then you go back to the back, and like I said, you deal with that stuff behind the scenes.
There's a reason Dennis Condrey kept a pistol in his bag.
Yeah, but it's just, like you said, she's paying for it now. A lot of people, the backlash, the whole, her bookings falling off, missing out on WrestleCade, obviously, just stuff like that. And then, like I said, there are many a promoter who's like, she will never work for me again.
Cody Rhodes
said she'll never wrestle in a locker room with him.
Which is, he's everywhere. Cody Rhodes, has wrestled for everyone from Blairsville, Georgia to New York City this year. He's been there, done that. The man's on the road nonstop. And if you're not in the locker room with him, you're not on the locker room with the Big Show. So, not a wrestler. Don't know how any of that stuff works in there. I couldn't do those moves. But the performers do those moves, and I respect them. And I hate to see somebody I respect get treated like that and put herself in a position of vulnerability and be taken advantage of with somebody for a petty backstage grudge.
Yeah. And I mean, I hate to say especially in women's wrestling, but in wrestling in general, it's a shitty thing to do. So
I had a friend of mine text me the article from the New York Post, and she's like, "What is all this?" And I'm like, "Shit." New York Post covering wrestling is a big deal, but when they cover something that makes the profession look bad, people don't understand that Sexy Star is not all of wrestling. People that read that article in the New York Post think that's what happened in wrestling every day, and it makes the whole thing look bad.
Yeah.
Bad press is not good press, like that kind of stuff.
Well, let's talk about some good press. Let's move on, because I think we both agree on it was a shitty thing to do, shitty situation, and she, hopefully she pays the price. And now, I don't know what she can say or do to.
I don't want her bodily hurt, but her pocket being hurt wouldn't hurt my feelings.
Absolutely. But let's talk about some good stuff that went down, and then since we're on women's wrestling, let's go ahead, man. The Mae Young Classic, hit this week.
Yes.
And we're not going to get into it because it was recently. It was literally a few days ago that it started airing.
I'm not finished. I'm not totally caught up on it yet. All I've seen so far is wonderful, and college football's this weekend, but I might have to preempt some of that to sit down and watch the Mae Young Classic.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. My wife wanted to watch this. She actually was super interested in watching the Mae Young Classic with me. So it makes my viewing pattern a little more difficult to do when she's home, because you got to do it when she's home from work and when she's up to watching anything and she's not grading papers and things like that.
Well, it's like us trying to watch Orange is the New Black. We're 2 seasons behind because we can't get ourselves on the couch at the same time with no kids in the room.
Right. It's pretty much impossible. So, I talked about maybe doing this, when we go to bed, like watching either a round or, a couple matches a night, while we go to bed or something. But, again, we don't want to start off negative, but it just seems like there's a lot of negativity this week. And one of the things that pissed me off the most about the Mae Young Classic is, WWE, it was their Facebook, right? I think it was on the Facebook account, posted, some stuff up about the Mae Young Classic, and the picture that they, had on the article post, whatever you want to call it, was a picture of, Piper Niven.
Beautiful woman.
Absolutely. 100% agree. And the trolls, the, internet assholes, I'll call them that right out of the gate.
Yes.
Just acted and completely showed why sometimes you are like, this is why sometimes I'm embarrassed to be a wrestling fan.
I would wager she is better looking than their wives.
If they have
wives. And I would guarantee they'd never sleep with a woman that attractive. She's a beautiful woman. Yes, she is bigger. Everybody's bigger these days. Not everybody is a size 2. She's beautiful. She's talented. I don't want to, like I said, I try not to sexualize the women's wrestling, but she is a great talent. She made it onto the Mae Young Classic, so she's no slack. She's not, King Kong Bundy. She can work. She got there on her merits, and we're judging her based on her appearance, that she doesn't look like all the other girls.
No. They are judging her because on her looks, not us.
Yeah, I try to stay as objective as possible with wrestling and judge people on their work. There's some guys that don't look like other wrestlers that are some of the best workers. Darby Allin, he's one of my favorites. He's a smaller guy, but he can work with anybody. So judge people on their work.
There's tons of guys. We talked about Barrington Hughes. We were just going to reach out to him because we saw some stuff of his. But my argument is, if I judged her based on her looks and not her wrestling ability, it's going to be a positive for me.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I like that. I like her. I think she's very attractive.
So there's nothing to say.
I was following her on Twitter long before she made the Mae Young Classic. I think she's a tremendous talent. And like I said, if you don't like her, well, you're in the wrong ballpark.
Well, it's just not your cup of tea. But
don't screw up my internet with your negativity.
Exactly. That's kind of where we were shooting for, was just
shut your damn mouth.
Yeah, and I really did love the fact that a lot of her fans came to her defense and just beat these guys up about it. Because like I said, I mean, it's not many times that I sit there and go, man, this is the part that I hate about being a wrestling fan, because, that's the reputation. When people see that, they don't want to go all the positives. Again, back to the New York Post, it's not always let's cover the great positive things.
They're edging. They're just sitting there on their edge of seats, going to try to the press as a whole to try to grab something negative about something negative about wrestling to put it out there, because people look at it like a freak show, and it's not. Let's treat our business with respect.
Right. If everything was treated positively, then I think especially with women's wrestling, who for years was fighting an uphill battle now, who we think now is kind of in their golden age. I mean, there's a peak, right now, so much so. Let's move on from that negativity.
Follow the Papa Hales rules. If you look at something and it doesn't sound like something Papa Hales would say about what you think, don't say it.
Right.
Praise what you like. Don't watch what you don't.
And, so we're going to jump out of the negativity. We're going to jump into the positivity, and we're still going to be on women's wrestling here. About things we like. We went down to Atlanta on Monday night for Monday Night Raw.
Downtown.
Yeah. I mean, downtown's an understatement. It was in the middle of all the tall buildings. I mean, in a beautiful venue, by the way.
Yes.
The, Opera. Was it Opera Theater, or is that what it's called?
Opera Nightclub.
Opera Nightclub.
Nice,
that's what it's
clean
called.
bathrooms. That's one of my top venue things. I'll judge your bathroom the same way I would a restaurant. And it had nice bathrooms, nice bars, plenty of places for people to watch the match, right up next to the ring, great atmosphere, the VIP rooms around the side, and the people at Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment did a wonderful job of making us feel welcome. And we met some of the nicest women there prior to the match. Thunder Rosa, Camilla Kane. They were very nice to us, very friendly, and then saw some of the most intense, very heavily skilled wrestling I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. By the way, look for those names that we just mentioned on the show soon, because, we're big fans of them. What would you say, hands down, I thought was the best match of the night? Because, we did have the main event.
Yes.
No disrespect to the women in the main event, but I thought the match prior was probably the best match of the night.
Yeah. Ivelisse and Isla Dawn.
Yeah.
Isla Dawn, sorry. Yeah, that was a phenomenal match. It was very, very striking. Lots of heavy striking. They put on a clinic, and they just draw you into the action with their intensity levels. It was very well done.
Yeah, but like I said, look for the names of Raw Wrestling in Atlanta to come onto the program, because we're definitely...
Raw Wrestling is a top-end women's promotion. Great stuff. Everything was perfect. Atmosphere was great. They had everything set up and ready to go. It was a really, really great show and really nice people. And I can't say enough about how much. And the tickets are reasonable. Yeah. Oh my God! If you're in the, like I said, even anywhere near Atlanta, I mean, because we drove an hour. Yeah. To get to it, and so it's worth the money. I mean, like I said, $15 got us the VIP, right? The early meet and greet. $15. And then, it was worth the while. I mean, obviously one of the main reasons we made that trip on top of the names we've already mentioned, Kiera Hogan. Yes. Was on the card. Everybody knows that by now it's public knowledge that she has been, signed by Global Force, Impact Wrestling, call it what you will. She's gonna be what are they called? Knockouts. Over there. It's so confusing. We have so many wrestling promotions. I almost called her a Lock-It, which was, of course, Rocky Mountain Pro guys. But, so, she's there. I know she's got a few more dates she's gonna fill, before she heads over to Global Force. I'm hoping I can catch at least one or two more of those. Yeah, it was cool to see her at least one more time, definitely, before. She throws down. She's a firecracker, man. She's a little bitty, spark plug, to say the least. Yeah. But that was, I think, probably, like I said, I know that was one of my main reasons of going, so. Yeah. Got to see a lot of top tier women's talent. And got to see a Chip Day match in there too, which, Chip is one of our personal favorites because, of the connection we have with, Terry. So I just can't say enough about what they put on. And we got to talk to the President Paul Coldhart. He allowed us to come into his presence for a little while and address us. So it was always good.
Absolutely. And,
charming gentleman.
They had, like I said, first class promotion. They had, we always say it's a little on the edgier side.
Yes.
But we definitely enjoy going over to their shows. But now let's jump on to the last, topic we wanted to talk about women. You want to talk about women's wrestling being in its glory days right now? Mm-hmm. We just let off for the entire show for like 15 minutes talking about women's wrestling.
Uh-huh.
And I know we would be remiss if, we didn't talk about this Monday on Raw. Apparently while we were at Roar.
Yes.
Sasha Banks defends her title against Alexa Bliss.
Yes.
And Alexa Bliss walks out of Raw with the gold again.
Well, it's money to put the title on her because she is gotten farther over than Sasha. Chris, I apologize. Right now, Alexa Bliss is much farther over than Sasha. Sasha's been on the back burner for too long. They didn't heat her up enough before they put the belt on her. The thing was not working for me. And they put that belt on Bliss, and the internet pops and goes wild, and they buy merchandise.
Well, I might sort of disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. I do think that Alexa is hot as the champion. Mm-hmm. But I think it's because I think they're doing the everybody chase the heel champion. Mm-hmm. They did it with Charlotte. Yep. The heel champion, chase the belt,
everybody
chase the
gets their turn after her.
Everybody it's the old Ric Flair days, the heel champion, and everybody's chasing the heel champion. I just think I think right now that's where Vince is at with the Raw Women's Championship. It's, let the baby faces chase the heel champion. Mm-hmm. Cause think about it, even Bayley, she got it. Yep. Didn't last long, obviously. Anytime a babyface gets the belt, the women's title, it doesn't seem to last that long.
Okay. The way to judge how things are is if you look at the WWE merchandise page, Alexa Bliss's name is there alphabetically, should be after Sasha Banks. It's ahead of Sasha Banks because she's the one right now. She's hot. Everybody loves her. Bunches of t-shirts, koozies, cups, sunglasses. She'll probably take over as one of the top women's merchandise sellers. And you can say what you want to about her work, but she's popular. And they book to popularity, and they book to what sells tickets.
Well, I also argued, because I know friend of the show, Chris Luth, we were talking back and forth on Twitter, and I did mention maybe they're at the point with Sasha that they just think, and by no means I'm saying on equal levels what I'm about to say, so bear with me. Maybe they just feel like Sasha Banks is as over as she's going to get, mm-hmm. and having the title means nothing. Yep. Like she's not going to be any more popular with the belt. She's not going to be any less popular without it.
It's like John Cena.
That's exactly what I said to him. I'm like, maybe they just feel like John Cena doesn't need the title. Well, Sasha Banks just doesn't need the title. So therefore, Alexa Bliss, I think, does a lot for the title, but the title does a lot for Alexa's character.
Yes.
So leaving the title on her makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
makes solid sense. It's money sense. They know what they're doing. Like I said, they don't book for us, but they book for what's money, and it works for them. So.
Well, speaking of what works for them, we're going to hit another very controversial topic.
Yes.
We're going to move to the men's side.
Probably the second. Nobody was injured in this, so that's the only reason it's probably second. Our dear friend, White Mike, stirred great controversy with something he did with whipped cream at a match. You'll have to research this yourself because we don't really cover too much controversial.
I mean, Jesus, I thought he was going to break the internet. Obviously, yes. We're talking about White Mike of the Gymnasty Boys. We've had him on the show before. Trust me, we're going to hear him again pretty soon.
Yes, one of the nicest. Him and Timmy Lou are two of the nicest people.
Yeah, we actually bumped into them at the Roar show, so that's kind of why it was. But it was very topical. It was all over Facebook and Twitter, buzzing up. It was the indie scene was tore up about. What went down.
It's going to get to Cornette, and Cornette's going to lose his shit. I would not be surprised if tomorrow when the experience drops that he won't just be out of his mind over this bit. Because it makes the invisible hand grenade and looks the bad arm drop and all the other shit he bitches about. It makes it look small time.
And now, because we come to the defense of it, and it was a conversation that we had that, I was in a seminar, and the wrestler that gave the seminar, I'm not going to go into a whole, too much of it as far as the name, but
very popular.
He'd been around. He'd been a trainer, so he ain't new. Yeah. He asked, "What's your job?" And everybody, you know, all the wrestlers guessed a bunch of things, and he was like, nope. Your job is to sell tickets.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's your only job. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter how you do it. If people are paying to see you, and then they'll pay again to come back and see you, and then they'll tell their friends, you got to see this, come back. Trust me. It's worth it. And the internet was buzzing and crazy, you know, and so much so, by the way, we want to throw in here while we're talking about it. There was so much love, hate, back and forth about this topic, with the whipped cream. And like I said, Google it. You'll find the story, I'm sure. But we want to say like, hey, I'm for it. I mean, whatever, if you're getting booked and you're drawing money.
Talk to the man, and his bookings have gone through the roof. Absolutely.
So we tell you, go on Facebook. We're going to put the link up. We'll put it there to make it easy for you.
Go to Michael Smith.
Yeah.
It's his Facebook page, his real Facebook page. He uses White Mike too, a Facebook page, but it typically is just on the Michael Smith.
But we'll put a link up for it to make it real simple for you. We'll put it on our Facebook and on our Twitter.
T-shirts.
He's got
T-shirts up to 5X. So we're going to be having his T-shirts because I like big T-shirts, and I like White Mike, and I like controversy. So I can't wait to be sporting my I Support White Mike T-shirt with a can of Witty Rip on the T-shirt. Yes.
So, look for that. And, you know, it's, again,
Mike's family is fed.
There you go.
Okay.
That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
So, that being said, we do support White Mike, and we say, hey, you know, wrestling's not for everybody, and there's a bunch of different ways.
I'm not going to watch that match. I'm not going to watch it.
But it's not like I have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it. And it's because I'm not bashing it because that's not what I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's not my cup of tea. But there's a lot more tea out there.
I made a joke with somebody. Do you remember this? We're going to move off of this in a second, I promise. But do you remember there was a match when I saw Dusty Rhodes stick his thumb up somebody's ass?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then like smell, you know, like woo, like I'm like, come on.
Oh yeah.
How is this? I mean, much where everybody forgets the good old days of Dusty Rhodes sticking his thumb
at one of the most conservative promotions I've been to out in the other day. They pulled a man's match. They pulled a man's trunks down, and his bare ass showed the whole crowd.
Yeah.
You know that people do shit. People gonna stir. They stir in comfortable amounts to get the right amount of ticket sales. But Mike had to get big. He blew this whole thing open, and the man is paying off for it.
Yeah, by the way, we always say follow the Gymnasty Boys on Twitter and on Facebook.
Yes.
Their webisodes are some of the funniest shit you're ever going to see.
Yes.
And I know we talked to them, and I think there's another one coming out pretty soon, like within the next few days.
Yes.
By the way, if you really want to say what's cool, in a few of those episodes, he's sporting a Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network t-shirt.
I'm not saying he's a sponsored athlete because we don't have those programs yet, but he is a collar and whipped cream sponsored athlete.
He's a friend of the show, definitely. I mean, he sports the gear so much so that, you know, we need to get him some more. We'll leave it at that. You know, now we're going to move on to some more serious stuff. You know, it's not as serious today as it was, you know, about a week or so ago. Ric Flair's situation seems to be improving.
Yes. Thank you.
I did see a tweet. Actually, it was on his account. I'm kind of feeling it wasn't him tweeting it.
Yeah.
But they said he was getting better and he should be back to his feet and with some therapy.
I was praying to Ric Flair about Ric Flair.
Please get better, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's good to hear. We've obviously followed the story close. I mean,
it's happening right down the road from us. And it's also, I mean, he's the Elvis of professional wrestling. It's bigger than life.
And most people will tell you, I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H. I mean, you know, the best of the best will tell you that Ric Flair is the best professional wrestler ever.
He's not the man, the myth, the legend. He is Ric Flair.
Right.
He is the man. He is.
That's it. He's the man.
He's totally a character, in character, 24/7. Never breaks kayfabe.
I don't think he knows it's a gimmick anymore. I think he actually lives it because it's that way.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
But man, you know, hell, we're halfway through our show almost, and we haven't even touched on anything as far as Raw or anything like that goes. So we'll jump right into it. Man, the real big thing to come out of everything, Raw, SmackDown, you name it this week, was the big promo segment between John Cena and Roman Reigns.
Knockoff, corporate generated, whatever he called him.
He called him a what is it, the corporate driven boot or John Cena bootleg or something like
Yes.
that.
Cena, Bubba Ray Dudley said it. The mic is a lightsaber and Cena's a Jedi. He has that promo in him at all times. He doesn't always use it because it's not always necessary, but you start seeing people wander off. They bring Cena back in and the tickets sell again. Okay? It's just what he does. Now Roman's more over just for talking to him.
I mean, that promo, you're right. It was pretty, and that's, I was funny because, my wife's a big Cena fan, so I showed it to her. She didn't care to watch Raw. She wanted to watch, when I told her about the segment, she's like, oh, and I showed her on my phone. And I just looked at her and said, here's the thing with Cena. When he's motivated, and I don't mean he's never not, you know what I'm saying, but when he's motivated and he wants to throw that big promo out there, he's money. I don't think there's anybody, since, you're Rock and you're Austin, that's that big of a, he can drill out a promo when he wants to at any given time.
Yeah, he's the business, He is the whole business. And Roman was trying to be that guy. Everybody wants to be that guy. If he wants to work part-time and still make twice what you make, that's a big deal.
Well, the punchline of the whole thing is the reason I'm still here is because you can't do your job.
Exactly.
You can't replace me. I do this better part-time than you do
ain't
full-time.
going to see old wet hair, shaggy Roman Reigns on the Today Show,
Yeah. And then the flip part of that is
That's what I don't understand about Titus O'Neil. I'm sorry to interrupt you. They had Titus O'Neil ready to do that job too, and then they backburned him. And now he's a manager.
Well, you need managers too. You need spokespeople,
but he had the Susan G. Komen thing down, and then he bumped into Vince, and that's what this shit is about. I don't believe that's the whole thing.
Yeah, you never know. Vince is a fickle man from what they say. So, he may hold that grudge until the day he dies. But the thing with, going back to Cena is, I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this promo and he's talking about how, if you did your job, I wouldn't be here. I don't know that there's anybody there that can. Mm-hmm. Because, obviously the rumors were that, they went off script and by the way, it's been broken that they did not go off script. That was all pretty much the only thing to go off script was the shot at him about, hey, if it's called a promo, if you're going to, do the spot or you're going to
be,
He did. He lost his lines for a second. You tell he had to gather himself and get his lines back. But you know what? John Cena doesn't do that.
No. John Cena could actually go out there and improvise the whole thing.
And has.
But when he's given written material, he conveys it with a certain emotion that's believable. Pre-written John Cena promo right now is better than anybody else on the roster currently. Just total off the cuff promo. There's nobody can touch it.
Well, that's because I'm laying money on it. They hand John Cena the script and he sits there and goes like, "Well, I would say it like this," and I would say it like. So that's probably why. But that you said it best. You watched that segment with me, and
now I'm interested.
You're like, all right, I'll get no mercy.
Like I said, we missed it. We missed it because we were at Raw. Nick got a chance to watch it yesterday. I couldn't because I was at work all day long. So I just caught the highlights, and he showed me that promo, and it's like, yes, okay, now I'm in for No Mercy. That's all it took. He hooked me. And I'm not even a Cena fan. I'm a Cena respecter. I guess that would, I'm not a fan, but I respect what he's doing in the ring and outside the ring. So I enjoy his work, but I'm still not a fan.
And, and then, we talk about you're invested in No Mercy.
Yes.
Well, the rumors are flying, obviously, that originally John Cena, Roman Reigns was supposed to happen after No Mercy because apparently Brock Lesnar is going to take a little hiatus after No Mercy. But then, of course, John Cena's the lead guy in the Bumblebee movie, the new Transformers spinoff. Mm-hmm. And apparently the producers saying that John Cena's not going to be in the ring while they're filming Transformers because he doesn't want him to take a bad bump and get hurt and then affect filming.
Reasonable because there's going to be a lot of money on the line on a Transformers movie. Now, they ain't good movies, but it ain't anything to do about the amount of money they spend on them.
Internationally, those freaking movies draw like crazy. Oh, yeah. They draw better internationally than they do in the U.S. now. So
I think people in America are tired of Michael Bay. That's just my opinion.
And you know what's funny? I don't quite understand because it's not like all his movies are bad.
Well, the lack of script development
I just think that everybody's pissed off. He likes to blow a lot of shit up.
No, I love the blow up stuff all day long, but if you give me a plausible story that I can follow through the whole thing, it's much easier on me.
You ever seen No Pain, No Gain? That Rock movie with Mark and, speaking of Transformers, Mark Wahlberg.
Yes.
I haven't seen it either, but everybody tells me it's much better than you would ever possibly imagine from a Michael Bay movie.
No, I'll have to check it out.
All right, whatever. So I totally get it. So apparently that's why, Cena's been bumped up to No Mercy.
Bumblebee?
I don't know. Bumblebee's the car.
But who's going to... Okay, Bumblebee doesn't talk. So Roman Reigns will be Bumblebee.
Roman Reigns will be Bumblebee because it's nothing but a radio. And John Cena can do all the talking, for the skit. We could have handled that on Monday because Roman did stumble quite a bit, but
he's getting better.
He's much better.
You remember a year ago he couldn't have told you his name with the microphone in his hand. He's getting better. It's not his strong suit. You know what I say? Don't make him talk. Get him a manager.
Make him a badass.
Yeah.
That's, and I'm going to totally go off script here for a second. Speaking of which, down the road, if Paul E., if Brock does walk away after like Mania, wouldn't it be cool if Roman beat Brock and Paul was the reason and he joined him and Paul became...
He fights Brock for Paul's services.
No, I'm literally talking turn.
Oh. Paul turns? Yeah.
That's the heel turn you've all been waiting for. That you get the heel turn of Roman at WrestleMania, winning the title because of Paul, and now you have Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns together.
Can you do you can't turn face on Brock, though. That's our heel. That's the thing. They've got...
I totally disagree because you're going to tell me that Roman Reigns is going to fight Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania and Brock Lesnar's not going to come off like the babyface with that crowd?
Oh, like some of that he did with Goldberg up north. Yeah, that's a very good possibility. That's a very good possibility. But look at Strowman now going up against Roman. Going up against Brock. They did so good with this. Strowman is that anti-hero. Like he comes off like a baby against Roman. He's come up like a baby against Brock because people, he's got something.
Well, they're cheering Braun as a babyface because. Guess what? Braun doesn't cheat. Braun's just the baddest son of a bitch on the show, and he's beating the hell out of everybody.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to boo that guy, isn't
it? Yeah. He was like an Andre, like just one of the big bruisers. And
it was kind of the same mistake. It was kind of the same problem they were having with Brock, because Brock doesn't cheat to win. Brock's the most legit, MMA badass guy on the roster. He's beating the hell out of everybody. So why are we supposed to hate this guy again?
Yeah.
Because he, calls out people or says
If it wasn't for Heyman and his attitude, he would be hard to hate.
But Brock is a babyface. That's the problem. Everybody was like, now it depends on weekend, pay-per-view to pay-per-view who he's wrestling. But I think they're going to have the exact same issue with Braun. And it's, going back to the Cena promo of why, people don't like, Roman. And of course the crowd's like, yes, when he says it, they don't buy him. So that's why he gets to getting the boos. Yeah, he gets the heel, he gets some babyface from the kids and et cetera.
Well, they had 3 guys in the ring. Kurt, Roman, and Cena. And those guys pretty much are 3 of the more polarizing figures in wrestling. You either love them or you hate them.
Well, Kurt's obviously reached that status now where everybody loves him, I think.
Yeah, but he still gets the you suck chance.
But it's a term of endearment at this point. It's not even a negative.
But they do they're down the middle. They're polarizing. You love Cena or you hate Cena. Nobody's like, meh, Cena, I don't know about him.
Yeah.
So they're doing a good job because they're over.
So who knows? So speaking of which, in No Mercy, apparently, we're getting Braun and Brock for the title. I don't even know how the hell you get out of this match. Because
if he's going to be taking a break, they're going to put the belt on Braun.
See, I don't know though. I think that if Brock's the guy that they're still down the road at Mania looking for, Roman to take the belt off of to become the guy.
Yeah, let him sit. We bitched about Brock being gone for so long, but it worked.
Yeah,
him taking the belt off and being off TV. I don't think their business went down any. I was watching it more when Brock was absent with the belt than I am right now. So
yeah, when we talked, that was one of the topics we talked about with Conrad Thompson a while back when he was on, and he made the comment of, what does it matter? Back in the day, we never saw Ric Flair wrestle when he was a champ. So I don't think it matters. I think it's a little bit overrated. I think everybody's just thinking like, oh, we got to see the champion every week. Why? You've got an Intercontinental champion you could push. You've got a U.S. champion you could push.
I never saw Ric Flair as a kid on Continental.
I mean, all you ever, yeah, we always heard.
He'd come in and cut a promo. He'd come to town maybe once a year.
Pretty much. And
that's if they made NWA, somebody in NWA made a deal for him to come into town.
Yep. So, but anyway, yeah, I mean, I think Braun, I think maybe somehow Braun is, I don't know, you got to make Braun look strong, but take the L. Mm-hmm. And I just haven't figured out yet how that happens yet. So, but we'll get there. All things considered. Now let's jump on to the other big man. The other news for the week, there was 3 injuries.
Yes.
And, one was obviously one was last week, but then some of the news came out this week about how it was going. And it kind of had an effect on the show. So that's kind of why we wanted to bring it up. Big Cass has the knee injury from on Raw last week, but apparently successful surgery.
Yeah, very successful surgery. And honestly, 9 months off TV will just help that guy.
I hope so.
Because, as Cornette says, how can I miss you if you don't go away? His gives him a chance to get the split with Enzo defined and develop his new character. So when he comes back, you don't say Enzo and Cass. You talk about Big Cass. Because Enzo's got another job. That's
right. And that's what we were going to lead into is Enzo Amore has been switched over to 205 Live. Mm-hmm. So he's now officially a cruiserweight.
Yes. Good spot for him. Good spot for the program. It's going to help draw people to watch it, regardless of what people say about Enzo. More people are going to watch 205 now.
Funny, there was a guy named Chris Jericho who said the same thing. He was on Busted Open Radio on XM Sirius Radio. Said that he'd been saying it for months, that's where Enzo belonged. He thought that the character would help 205 to try, draw some people into the seats. No offense to them, but they need it.
Yeah, because, I've been to the events where they ran 205 later. Atlanta, it wasn't so bad when after Raw, SmackDown went off and they ran the 205 Live. But some of the houses I've seen people take pictures of are not good.
Yeah, they got to do a lot of work with the cameras to make it not noticeable and with lights and things like that. Hopefully Enzo can draw some people to stay, especially if they put him in the later match maybe.
Yeah. He's not a great wrestler, but he doesn't have to be. Some of the best wrestlers aren't great workers.
Well, one of the quotes of the week I told you, I'm not going to quote it, but one of the things said was Chris Jericho told apparently Neville, the day's going to come that you're going to have to do what we're asked to do, and that's to make him look good in the ring. Yeah. He's got a character. He's not the best worker in the world.
He's not that bad, but he's still nowhere near Neville level.
No.
The Neville level.
But that's it. That's guys like Jericho and Neville, and the top rate workers in the world. AJ Styles, that was the whole thing with Ric Flair back in the day. Sometimes you're going to be asked to dance with a guy who's not the best in the world, and you have to make him look good. And
because Junkyard Dog is evidence, Hulk Hogan is evidence that you don't have to be the best worker to sell the most tickets.
Right, and Enzo has the potential to be one of the biggest stars on 205 Live. We can still get into the fact that I think they should be doing it a different night and a different, all that stuff being said.
For evidence of Myron's booking schedule, you can look through Twitter and Facebook and see those times I go off on a rant and reschedule both programs.
But one of the things I've wondered, and I'm not sure it would work either. Don't get me wrong. Why would they not flip flop it? Why don't they run 205 Live from the like when you go to I guess you couldn't because SmackDown's live. Never mind. I'm an idiot. I was going to say run it in front of SmackDown, but then you would have to start at 7:00 and then you could, cause they could tape it and live stream it on the network after the fact.
Yeah.
Then they would even have 2 hours to do editing on it.
Yeah.
So, but then you're starting at 7 because SmackDown starts at 8, etc. So
nobody's going to get to wrestling that early besides us.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so Enzo Amore, and it's looking like he's going to get a title shot right out of the gate.
Hey, give him something.
Yeah, maybe it'll make it an interesting story.
Hell, it could be a tag team champion with Cass. They never pulled that off.
So yeah, at least maybe with the character, they're going to get something out of it, which is good. Speaking of characters who are injured, Xavier Woods, cosplay character champion, of the WWE. Looks like he sprained, got a little sprain there. He's going to be out 2 to 4 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt the New Day in the least, to be honest with you, because, clearly on SmackDown he was there.
New Day Freebird rule. And also, I hope he make it to Dragon Con this weekend. I know a lot of people are looking forward to seeing him. I would love to see him. I can't get down, so y'all have fun. Wish everybody at Dragon Con fun. Please say hi to Xavier for me because I love the guy.
Yeah, he was sporting the It's Sore sign last night on Smackdown, which kind of had me, cracking up a little bit. Yep. But, like you said, I don't think it really hurts anything. He's just not going to work any shows, and Biggie and Kofi working the matches aren't going to.
There was a good chance he wasn't going to be in the match anyway.
Well, it's not even that. It's just the fact that he lots of times he's out there with the trombone, and for the longest time, like you said, primarily that was the case. Totally underrated worker lately. I mean, you watch his matches, dude's come along.
Yeah, because used to if they were going to lose a match, it would be the match Xavier was in, and they'd save one of the big guys. And now he can go out there and wrestle a match, and they'll win because he's apparently proved enough that the WWE people have faith in him. Yeah.
And speaking of guys at the top with an injury. Samoa Joe, man.
Yes.
He had a little bit of a knee injury at a live event, but his is it's not serious. I mean, from everything they're saying, they're talking maybe 4 weeks off just to take a break. Same thing. It was maybe it's a good.
You get off TV for just a little while. It helps. It'll help your character. Look at Dolph. They should really get Dolph out right now, and give him a break, come back, repackage.
Oh, you didn't see last night, did you?
No, I didn't see last night.
He's back.
Cecil said he don't need to be back.
No, he's they're going with a cool gimmick. It's just funny. I haven't even talked to you about this. He's done this 2 weeks in a row now. He's come out on SmackDown and he's like, I know what I need to do to get over. I need to have some pretty woman, walk me to the ring, or I need to, play a trombone, basically mocking everybody's entrances.
Yeah.
That they do, as far as coming to the ring. And he's like, if they want, and basically last night the comment was, if they want style over substance, then I'm going to give it to you starting next week. So next week on SmackDown, we're going to get some, it's funny. I really tell you what I want to see. I want to see him take like 9 entrances and combine them. So you got Pyro on a like a cart with a pretty woman with a glow, because he was making fun of Naomi last week about her glow and, blah, blah, blah. So like take all this shit and combine it and be like, this is my new entrance.
But you want to draw attention. You got to spray paint a woman's face in your tights.
Something.
Roode did that shit, man. It was awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, Dolph maybe, because I'm the firm believer.
Chameleon.
He's getting down to where he's getting do or die time.
Yeah.
But with SmackDown as thin as it's gotten, I mean.
But with all the talent they've got, how are they booking it thin? Was Mojo on TV last night?
No.
Okay. You're trying to run too damn many house shows and you can't get Mojo on TV. You're too heavy at the top. Mojo. Push Mojo. Guy's great. Guy's full of energy. You can work back a whole Jinder Mahal story again with Gronk and get that set up for one of the big pay-per-views.
Well, but the problem with SmackDown is, let's go ahead and, we were going to go completely out of order here. We discussed the debut of Bobby Roode last week.
To do what?
And then this week, he's on.
Flatter than a plate of piss.
It was horrible. I don't know if it was the crowd, so I'm going to give them the benefit of a doubt. The crowd at SmackDown, again, this coming from a guy who tells you Atlanta crowds can be absolutely horrible, from experience. That crowd was just bad.
Yeah.
And Bobby Roode's music hits, and I'm waiting for the big, pop. And it was terrible. So we asked ourselves the question, because we're moving on from the injuries, obviously, at this point. We asked ourselves the question, is Bobby Roode about to be another example of somebody coming from NXT and just, he was one of the hottest things in NXT. That intro was over.
When we worked on it, we worked these things out and talked about it, that he came from TNA, which basically had about the same viewership as NXT, so you're not looking at a increase in viewership. So there's, if everybody's watching it, you're probably getting 1 million. If everybody watches.
Well, the TNA at the time, Impact, they were doing 1 million when they were on Spike or whatever, and they were doing a little bit less, obviously, when they went to Global Force and all that, et cetera. But he was gone pretty much by that point. So the network has 1.5 million or 1 million, whatever subscribers. I'm not saying everybody that has the network watches, NXT, So let's call it generous and let's say half do. So you're 500,000 to, 750,000 people watch it. So damn numbers aren't far off.
Yeah.
And clearly we talked about Raw. Raw drew 3 million people. Mm-hmm. So 3 times the number of people are watching, and I bet it's more than that on NXT, but, when he was on Impact are watching the product. So is the logic to say, are there 2 million people that when he walked out, 2/3 of the audience, that would translate to me from TV to crowd. Would you not use it make sense?
Yeah.
So 2/3 of the crowd doesn't know who the hell he is?
Well, they're doing one thing wrong, and they're just dropping those guys out there in the pond and say, swim. Nobody's helping them. Nobody's giving them some promos. Nobody's doing vignettes. Nobody's working an angle.
Hold on. I'm going to stop you because that's one thing we've talked about before. I mean, do vignettes, we really need those back, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, people need to know who the hell you are before you walk out.
Yeah.
Video packages. Hell, he's been in NXT. You got footage for days.
Exactly.
Of him winning the NXT title, his run there, the fights he's had. Great matches. Promote the hell out of it and say, coming. I know they wanted the surprise, but look what the surprise got them.
They surprised Ty Dillinger. They surprised Nakamura. They surprised Bobby Roode.
Bailey. And so.
They're drowning. And right now Nakamura is doing better than anybody else. But he's so quirky, he attracts people to his character.
He's so over the top. That character would be over anywhere.
The intro and all that, they got him set up perfectly. But these other guys are just floundering, and it's
Bailey's getting fucking booed.
Yeah.
Now that was a dipshit audience. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me started on that. But that was a whole.
But in the vignette era, you had no internet. You had very little media outside of the magazines. So you could legitimately not know who somebody was, and as a kid who was too young to get them, let his parents weren't going to buy him magazines with people with blood all over their faces. So I didn't know who the people were. So I needed those vignettes to fill me in on who these people were. And the average fan who watches every week but doesn't have the network, the people who just watch the TV shows, those are the people that the casual fans, the people they want, that they want to attract, don't know who these people are. So give them a little bit of something. I don't need surprises anymore. If you do everything to pop the smarks, you're not going to make any money off of it. That's just the way it is. You're never going to get rich popping smarks because they're going to watch anyway. It's not a market you're having to acquire.
If you want to surprise me and you want to pop me, Undertaker walks out or Batista walks. I know I'm going to the extreme.
Yes, but you would
give me somebody who the hell I know when they walk out of the curtain.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my God.
Somebody everybody knows.
There's the key. I think the majority of the fans need to know who they are versus surprising them and everybody's going like, who?
That Ty Dillinger run in at 10 at the Rumble didn't mean shit to 90% of the people watching it.
I knew who he was and it didn't mean a ton.
No.
Because I told you, you knew, I know the whole he's not going to win anyway. So, but I just thought you really popped the marks because you wanted him to be number 10. You wanted to give him something to be, ooh, yay, he's number 10, which don't get me started. I think it's stupid anyway, but whatever. But yeah, that's my concern with Bobby Roode. I'm like, is he going to fall in that trap? Now, my thing is that I think Bobby Roode's talented enough. He's going to get himself over even on SmackDown. Yeah. So there is that, but I just, my concern is this a trend of every guy coming through there where you eventually, and when I'm going to say what I'm about to say, I'm going to come back. But anyway, Adam Cole and, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, that group that's now in NXT, with all due respect, where they've come from and the things they've done, the 3.3 million people that watch Raw, and God only knows it's probably 2 million that watch SmackDown or whatever. How many of those people really know who they are?
They need vignettes.
Because your casual fan doesn't watch everything else.
They used to put up somebody new with Bobby Heenan, and it didn't matter who the person coming out with Heenan was. They were over automatically because they were Bobby Heenan. Yeah. You need managers. You need vignettes. I'm not saying everything has to be like it was in the old days, but there were things that worked that should be stuck with. That's me. That's my opinion.
Don't reinvent the wheel. You can design the wheel a little bit different.
Yeah. You can put something else on top of the wheel, but it's still a wheel.
They make snow tires.
Yeah.
They make tires for off-road. They make
tank treads.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. So you can make it a little bit different, but it's still round.
Yeah, it still works the same way.
So, but anywho, speaking of which, well, let's get to, they come out on Raw. This is kind of you're talking about managers and mouthpieces and stuff, which I think we all assume that's where Miz's heyday is going to be when he gets on the back end. But right now, he's out on Raw, and he's, calling Kurt Angle to the carpet, because let's be blunt. SummerSlam, no Intercontinental title defense. Mm-hmm. Miz says it's a disrespect to the title. It's a disrespect to him. And, that it was on a freaking pre-show, and he was in a 6-man match.
I believe they dropped the ball on that. That's just my
100%. Mm-hmm. And so we get this announcement that we're going to have a battle royal from Kurt Angle on Raw. Hell, we're all under the assumption Jason Jordan's going to win this thing.
Of course you think he's going to win that thing, because he's their guy. He looks like he's the new chosen one.
He's Kurt Angle's son.
Yes. And they pulled that whole angle about Kurt Angle, and, they introduced it, they popped the whole thing, they split up a tag team. What are they going to do with him? If they let that drop, they're idiots.
So, but Jason Jordan does not win the battle royal, which kind of shocked me.
Did they not think he was ready?
That's what I actually thought.
Because they gave it to somebody who was ready.
Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy's been ready for 30 years.
Jeff Hardy's been a champion. Jeff Hardy's been a world champion. So that's a shock that he's, so we're getting Jeff Hardy and the Miz at No Mercy.
Well, there's another thing to say. No Mercy.
But, I mean, it was out of nowhere.
Yeah, you don't see it. You don't see them working as a tag team. I was not expecting Jeff to be split up off the tag. I mean, they're not splitting up the Hardy Boys, but I didn't expect to see him in singles action this quickly.
Yeah, it was like a random.
What's Matt doing?
I mean, is Matt going to be like in the corner to, support?
That'd be against the Miztourage. That's a good point. That could work.
Yeah. The only other cool thing I do want to point out is, first of all, screw Elias Sampson. I love him as a character sometimes, but he really screwed up a moment in this match. I don't know if you saw it. We had the Club and Finn Balor face to face, giving each other this look, teasing us all.
Yes.
And then, of course, Elias breaks up the moment. Hey, just a little bit too soon. I wish he would have given him a few.
They're doing great with Elias Sampson because they've made me hate him. Okay, that's the thing. When I talked to Evan Jaliska the other day, I said, I can tell you that you've done a good job being a bit of a heel character, because I've seen you live twice. I booed you both times.
Yeah.
That means it works. So they've making me hate this guy, and that works. I don't like what they call him now. They cut part of his name out, or
he's just Elias.
Just Elias.
Yeah, the Drifter. He's the walk with Elias. I think that's the whole catchphrase now.
No.
So he's done his job, and so forth and so on. The only other thing I really wanted to cover is we finished off SmackDown with a Nakamura Orton versus Rusev and Jinder Mahal match. God knows where all the story is going, but the only thing I care to talk about it is as a SmackDown went off, the team of Orton and Nakamura get the win, and as they're celebrating, Randy Orton apparently turns heel again and RKO's Nakamura.
Only thing I saw in the match that Randy Orton did believably was heel turn. He's the least appealing babyface ever.
I just wish they would quit moving him, because he's a heel. He is what he is. He just looks like a heel. And
that whole Jinder Mahal thing he did with that whole storyline they had was the drizzling shits. The whole thing was, because neither one of them had the personality to pull it off.
Like, I like Jinder as a heel, but the problem was it was neither. Yeah,
there was no chemistry. You didn't see it.
I think that might have been it. The chemistry wasn't there. So, but anyway, that's apparently we've got Randy Orton heel, which I like heel Randy Orton much better than babyface Randy Orton.
Because the whole thing he did with Bray Wyatt, where he was a good guy one time, he was a bad guy, then he set a house on fire, and blah, 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 blah. And then they were wrestling in a ring full of bugs.
Yeah.
And I had no clue what was going on.
And they're not taking any, break to accelerate his heel turn, because next week apparently on SmackDown it's him and Nakamura facing each other for the winner to face.
Yeah.
Obviously Jinder, but let's go ahead and be honest with you. I completely see this being Nakamura's run.
Yeah.
But,
they're going to give it to Nakamura. They've got to.
The only thing we could fall short of is you want to talk about stacking the odds, is having a heel Rusev, heel Orton, heel Jinder, babyface Nakamura in a fatal 4-way.
Well, that's an interesting mix. Okay, hold on. Question for you, though. And I hate to keep beating the WWE stuff to death. But last week, Rusev was whining on the internet. This week, he's in the main event. Is that how you get to the main event?
No, that shit was a work.
You think it was a work?
I totally think it was a work. Tony Schiavone has rubbed us off
on
us enough that I just think everything I see is a work.
I think everything I see at work is a work.
The day the Sexy Star story broke, at first I'm like, I hadn't seen the video yet, by the way, in my defense. I just heard about it. I'm like, work. And now I saw the video, obviously changed my mind.
I do get consumed by the whole work. It's a work. Because my stepson is always coming up to me. Did you see the new thing? And I went, work.
Yeah.
Work. I don't even need to see it. I just say work. And that's maybe
it's just because we're so jaded.
Calloused.
We're so jaded at this point.
It's not a bad thing. I mean, I don't have a problem acknowledging a work is a work and it works me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it is what it is. I know one of the things you wanted to touch on before we got out of here was Mr. Bennet.
Yes. Congratulations to Mike Bennet for facing his addiction to pain pills and getting off of them and trying to get himself clean. That's a horrible challenge, man. I see it every day at work. I know a lot of people have had that problem. It's going to take a lot of strength to get through it, and my best wishes are with you. And it's going to be good. You're going to come through this. You're going to come out on the other side, and you're going to wind up living a hell of a lot longer. And you ain't going to be in a McDonald's bathroom dead, especially not with a wife that hot.
Yeah, that's a lot of motivation to clean yourself up.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, I told you I'd come back to this. I wanted to shed some stories here. This past Saturday, I had the honor, no pun intended, to be invited down to the Ring of Honor TV tapings that were in the Center Stage Theater in Atlanta. Did get a cool interview out of it.
What did you get? What did they give you?
I had about 15 minutes or so.
What did they give you?
Oh, my press pass?
You had a press pass.
Ring of Honor gave the press pass.
We are the press now, officially.
So I got an interview when I got there. We didn't know who we were going to get, which was kind of a funny story. So I go walking in, go through the loading dock, get into there, and meet up with the guys that I'm supposed to meet up with finally. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, who are you interviewing? I have no idea. They told me I'd tell me when I got here. Turns around and he goes, there you go. And I'm floored, man. I get Adam Page, the Hangman Adam Page.
Yes.
1/3 of the 6-man tag team champions with the Young Bucks, affectionately called the Hung Bucks.
Yes.
Bullet
it's
Club.
Good to see 6-man out there. It's fun.
I totally dig it. Yeah, it's really cool. I was always a fan of back in the day, the Russians in Georgia and the Road Warriors and somebody, it'd be Dusty or something like that. But yeah, it was, I just wanted to shout, it was a great thing being invited down, got in, got the interview, went through the meet and greet, got to meet up, bought a comic, the autographed comic from, Christopher Daniels and, Frankie Kazarian. Took a picture with those guys. I gotta get that up. I haven't got that one up yet. Just, Saul, Cody, the Young Bucks, a lot of those guys were all there. So it was, the Gorillas, Destiny. Is that their name? Yeah, they were there. So, super cool event. And by the way, the Center Stage Theater is a great venue for filming. The seats straight up, the acoustics are good.
Yeah.
And lots of, some local guys got a shot there.
Well, they know how to set it up perfectly for wrestling because they've done so much there. Also, just to be in Cody Rhodes' presence, and that's, the guy's so much more over now. And I don't understand it. He's so much over. I follow him now like a hawk where I just occasionally glanced at Stardust to see what he was doing. Now it's just like,
well, and it's funny because that's actually one of the topics that, when I interviewed Adam Page, it's one of the things he brought up is that, back in the day, there was one place you could really go to work. Mm-hmm. And now there are guys doing just as good out on their own than, as far as making a living, having a career outside of the WWE.
Set your own schedule.
Yeah, set your own schedule, now, work where you want to work.
If you haven't listened to this interview, it was live, backstage. You get not enough backstage noise to interfere with the article or the interview, but it sounded so good to hear the little bit in the background that makes you know he was back there, makes you know the man was down there with his portable recording equipment, getting the hot story. And it's a damn fine interview. It's on the end of one of Lewis's shows.
It's on the end. I tacked it on because it was a shorter interview. It was about 15 minutes. We added it on to the Pro Wrestling Personified podcast that launched on this past Sunday.
You got to go listen to this.
Yeah, it's the last 16 minutes, 17 minutes of that is the interview. So, but yeah, it was, super nice to have somebody, of that caliber on.
And get insight on how things work backstage at Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I had a blast. I can't wait to do it again. Hopefully they'll be back and we can, get down there and get another interview. But man, hey, it was a long, crazy weekend wrestling to say the least. And we got some more coming up pretty soon. I know next week we've got some, shows we're hitting on, September, cause I think this show will drop that day, not this episode, but next week's episode will drop the day we are at an event, September 7th. We want to go ahead
September 7th, Monroe, another Thursday show for Southern Fried. It's going to be awesome. The card is stacked. They have brought in so much talent. It's unbelievable. Cannot wait. Fred Yehai versus Gary J. They've got the Ducks. They've got the Jim Nasty. They've got 13th Floor. They've got O'Shea Edwards.
He's facing Logan Creed, by the way.
Sorry, Logan Creed. I hate that. I hate that your Southern Fried career will be ended because O'Shea's he's a monster.
Well, as O'Shea has pointed out, there's only one good kind of Creed, and that's a dead Creed. So
he's the man.
So absolutely. So, and by the way, look for something from those two coming. So
we're trying to put some deals together. Jim Nasty, love those guys. Can't wait to see them again. Gary J did a epic interview with me. I mean, it's one of my favorite pieces of work. Was getting to talk to Gary J, and that interview's great. It's up on the network right now. We're going to be pushing it along with the Southern Fried stuff because get a listen. Hear this man coming. He is a journeyman, charismatic, great guy. Fred Yehai is an intense guy. I've seen him, and he main evented Evolve show here in Atlanta versus Xavier Jr. So yeah, that's a pretty big deal right there.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely some stuff to look for. And you go back in the archives. I mean, a lot of these guys have been on. We've had 13th Floor, Jim Nasty Boys, O'Shea's been on. Obviously we've been working on the Ducks, obviously, to get them on. But you had Gary J on. Yep. And we've had Chip Day on, who on that card is, the reason that card is so close to home. It's special. The next to the last match for a friend of the show, Terry Lawler. So we obviously want to go see that one. And obviously next week we're going to go see his final match in Rome as well. But
I can't wait to see Terry and Chip work together.
There's such a history there.
Yes. And I love Terry to death, and Chip's the hottest new thing coming. It's a epic passing of the torch. I think it's
it's teacher pupil.
Yes.
Yeah, to walk away, I think is a pretty cool, pretty cool moment, and glad we're going to be a part of that. So definitely, if you're in the area, the Metro Atlanta area, September 7th, Monroe, Georgia, Southern Fried Championship Wrestling, definitely a show you want to check out.
Speaking of walking away, I just saw where the SCI tournament is downloadable now. The first night is already up. If you go to the SCI webpage, or the Facebook and Twitter, you can find it. One of the classiest walkaways I've ever seen. Tank, when he lost in the first round to Riddle, and he went on to win the tournament, and the way Tank handled himself. So that was one of the best walkaways I've ever seen in my life, and I'm sure Terry's going to do something just as epic.
Oh, I'm sure. So we'll make sure we need to get him on after that so we can kind of walk that journey a little bit with Terry. So that being said, man, you got anything else before we get out of here?
That's about all I got, man. I've just talk, and it's been a great week for wrestling because there's controversy, there's news. Let's just hope it's not bad news in the future. Okay?
Yeah, we want lots of good news. So, but if you got anything to share with us, man, everybody knows there's a few ways you can find us. We tried to make your life simple. It's Tapped Out Pod. Yeah, we shortened it. tappedoutpod@gmail.com. The reason why we did that, the new one, the tappedoutpod.com or tappedoutpod@gmail.com, is because we're trying to make everything match. Tapped Out Pod is our Twitter. Tapped Out Pod is our Instagram. Tapped Out Pod is our Snapchat. Obviously on Facebook, it's just Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network, like always. They don't really do short things. It's always, it's just a name. So you can find us there. So hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on Instagram. Hit us up on Snapchat. Hit us up on, email, again, one more time, tappedoutpod@gmail.com.
And if you want to just go to the home, to the port that the flagship is always in, our website, tappedoutswrestlingpodcast.com. Everything is there. I had a guy ask me yesterday, if I don't have an iPhone and I go to Android, how will I find my shows to download? Go to the website. There's a list of everywhere you can find our show to go in and subscribe. It's so easy. And it's just the best, easiest way to catch everything we're doing. See our pictures. We've got our player right down the center. You can listen to all the shows there, and then tweet and share them from right there.
Yeah, we download them. I mean, you can download them from there, listen to them later. Down the left.
On your desk at work.
Yeah, lots of people do that. They love to listen to them at work. I mean, you can also, like you said, right down the left, there's, the big ones everybody knows, the Apple, the iTunes, the Google Play, and then of course we're on so many small ones. Our server that we use sends it out to so many small podcast things I didn't even know, but we're on the, Overcast, Player FM, TuneIn, of course we have the YouTube channel, which I always tell everybody, to me, subscribe and listen somewhere else. I mean, I hate to be that way. It's just YouTube's view on wrestling has kind of skewed us all against YouTube a little bit. But if all necessity, it is there for you to find it. Yeah. But we're on podcast app and, all these things. If you look on your device, if it's an app device, you'll find a podcast, app of some kind to find us.
You ain't trying hard enough.
Yeah, exactly. Cause we're everywhere, man. And of course the other benefit of going to the website, there's a few others, right? Our our affiliates, our sponsors.
I don't really call them advertisers.
They're sponsors.
They're friends of the show.
Friends of the show. Call them what you will. We got our buddies for one. Let's start with some of our favorite people on the planet. That would be the guys over at Fight TV, the Fight app.
Oh, and also the Rise show that's from England is going to be on Fight. I'm so excited, because it's one of my favorite promotions, teamed with one of my favorite ways to watch wrestling. Happy. You can watch the fight from your iPad, from your iPhone, from any kind of device. You get the app. You can look at the website and watch it there. I don't even know. Maybe they got some Roku stuff or something like that too, but it's just so easy.
It's super simple. I mean,
actually, you can cast from the app to the TV too.
Right. Yeah. It just casts to smart TVs or whatever.
Yeah.
But my thing's simple. I mean, it's, we put the link on our Twitter. We put it on our Facebook. It's on our website. Use our link because it shows that we're supporting them. They can actually see that it's coming from us. And that's kind of what we like to do is show them. We want we do these shows for free. Yeah. We ask for small favors to just, help support us behind the scenes. And most of them don't cost you anything.
Nope.
Like the Fight app, it's a free app. We just say, hey, use our link so it shows them that we're supporting them. And, so it's like I said, it's on our Twitter and it's, a couple days a week it's on there because I'm promoting shows on there. Like, today, we're recording, just kind of behind the curtain here. We're recording on a Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Rocky Mountain Pro streams on there. So every Wednesday I'm advertising for Rocky Mountain Pro. Mm. It's not a shock. It's not a surprise. The link's there. But then, like I said, it's, it's on our website, it's on our Facebook, et cetera as well. Mm-hmm. But then, of course, we also tell you the other way to support us, again, free to you. We have our Amazon affiliate link right there on the middle. Mm-hmm. And hey, from time to time, I put it on our Twitter and our Facebook, mm-hmm. but it's the best place to find it because especially at your computer is right in the middle, down at the bottom of the webpage. Click on it. It's got our little, spot. Pretty simple. Replace your old Amazon.com link with that link. All of your purchases made through that link, they don't cost you an extra penny. They just kick us a little referral fee for directing traffic to the website. It's a way to help kick us a little cash just to help cover all these expenses that we have. Cause it does pile up over here, believe it or not. And we're not charging you a dime for it. So hey, help us out, as best you can going through there. And I know you're super excited about it.
I heard about that website Buff Bagwell is on and I really don't want to have to do that.
Yeah, I don't think.
But if we got to keep the lights on here.
But Tony Schiavone, or Schiavone.
I ain't got nobody to shave my sack, though.
Yeah. So, and then of course, our latest one is, there on the left. We've been, we signed up. We're now, an affiliate with the, Blue Apron guys.
Yes.
And I know you like that stuff.
Love that. Actually, my kids made dinner last night and we had the ratatouille tart. I know I can't say that right. The ratatouille tarts with summer squash. It's good. And if my kids eat vegetables, it's rare, but they just tore that stuff up. Loved it. Love those Blue Apron guys. I look forward to seeing more of those boxes come to my door.
So, yeah. And then, there's all kinds of links. If you click on it and go there, they've got the deals fluctuate from time to time, and they've got a few that they run at one time. Mm-hmm. You can get so much off of your first purchase, or you can get your first meal free if you buy something. So, like I said, there's so many different ways to save money on them, but you definitely want to check them out, cause they get great friends of the show.
Yeah.
Then, of course, last but not least, ProWrestlingTees.com. Yes. Search Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. Buy a shirt.
Yes.
It's real simple. Buy a shirt.
And they're on sale right now for Labor Day.
Labor Day, they're 15% off. So grab a tee while you can. Just like I said, Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. You can search it. It'll pop up.
The official site for all your Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast and Ninja Gear needs. And I will keep posting videos of me jumping around and kicking things.
And,
if you like
and destroying cities.
And destroying cities, yes.
So, funniest thing, you're going to see that's coming soon on the Tapped Out Podcast. Yes. So, but absolutely. So, man, that's pretty much covers everything as far as I know.
Yes. Once again, everybody have fun at Dragon Con Wrestling. It's going to be great. I looked at some of the matches, but make sure you are in Monroe next Thursday. Tapped Out's going to be there. All your indie fans should be there. It's going to be a great program. They're great people putting on great wrestling for everyone right there in Monroe. Be there. Going to be wonderful. Great card.
Yeah, go. And if you're not in the Georgia area and you're one of our listeners, support indie wrestling in general. Yes. Go out and watch a show.
Go to a show. The key to staying, if you get tired of the WWE, don't put wrestling down. I made that mistake once in my life. Now, if I get tired of WWE, I watch an indie show. I'm always watching the indie shows. I'm going to be doing some Global Force shows coming up. We're recording the shows with Lewis. So I'm watching Global Force now. And you know what? Surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Surprisingly good. So there's a lot of stuff. There's always wrestling everywhere. But when you can go to an indie show and you can shake hands with the next guy on the main roster, or you can talk to people, get a hug from a large sweaty man. Different things like that. Whatever you want. People are so nice, so good, and the action is incredible. I always am surprised at how good the indie wrestling is.
You can meet guys. I always tell people, you can always meet the guys on their way to the main roster.
Yep.
You can meet legends at these shows a lot of times. You can shake hands with guys and meet guys that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm meeting Ron Fuller.
Oh, that was
awesome. Stuff like that.
I'm still popping from that.
Yes. you're meeting Tommy Rich. So I'm just telling people, go out to your indie show, even if it's a mega indie show, whatever you want to call it. It's a great experience, and I think it'll
reach. And if you see us at the show, stop by and say hello. Yeah. We'd love to hear from our fans.
It's pretty simple. Usually we're one of the two fat guys with the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast shirts on.
We have our shirts on, so you know who we are. And to try to get you to buy some more shirts.
So, absolutely. Well, support indie wrestling. But that's it, man. We're out of time. So, what does that mean?
It's time to tap out.